let's go. It's another edition of Speed Chronicles here on Wednesday on the RevTV YouTube channel. Thanks for checking it out. Thanks for tuning in at Todd Lewis Sports, at RevTV. You know the handles on X and Instagram by now. If you've got thoughts, ideas, questions, and want to pass those along, we appreciate it. Looking for whatever thoughts, ideas, and areas you want to pursue. A couple of big events this past weekend for NASCAR and, of course, for Formula One. A return back to the United States after the stop in Miami earlier this year. They return to Circuit of the Americas, COTA, if you prefer. And, of course, they'll be back again later in the year, next month, with the stop at Las Vegas the 2nd. But let's talk about COTA. Fantastic event. What an unbelievably successful race this has become. You start with a fantastic facility, purpose-built for Formula One and for Formula One cars. And watching them on track this weekend and race through different parts of the circuit, oh my gosh, just wonderful to see. That tricky back and forth, left, right, through after you get through corner number 3, and then down to the high-speed portions, and then the tricky infield section before you get to corners 18, 19, 20, and back out onto the front straight. It's a fantastic circuit for the cars. And of course, because it's Texas and everything's bigger in Texas, to use the cliche, it's an enormous facility for fans as well. In excess of 400,000 for the weekend. Just what a marvelous, marvelous event this has become. It's a great facility, great city, great location. Just really everything is wonderful all about it. So did Lando blow it? Had the sprint race, had the full race as well. Did he blow it? That's such a Formula One headline. I hate to say that. No, I don't want to use that headline. But remember, lost the lead on the start. That important corner number 1, it's so tricky and caught so many drivers out in different racing series this weekend. Okay, I've got the pole. I'm gonna get to the inside. It's like, oh, I've run too deep, and people are running wide and all over the place, and it becomes mayhem. It's that incredible combination of the hard left-hander and going uphill for so long, and then having to make the left-hander and slow down. It's a great combination. It's a great way to start a lap. No, I don't think Lando blew it. He lost some ground, which is unfortunate, and is going to make the Drivers' Championship a much tighter race because he lost a little bit of ground to Max Verstappen. But I'll tell you, the head-to-head battle for about 10 laps, that was about as good as it gets in Formula One. Trying to make that pass, trying to get ahead of Max and get the final spot on the podium. That was great head-to-head action. Really awesome to see. It's super fun. This is what race fans want. I think this is what real race fans want. You want to see drivers battling that hard for a position. I don't care if it's a podium position. I don't care if it's 10th place. I don't care if it's 15th place. I want to see racers driving that hard and fighting for every position, whether you're trying to make the pass or whether you're defending, as Max was for so much of it. I thought it was really, really fun racing action and a good race to watch. 2 Ferraris on the top steps of the podium as well. Oh, how about that? Just when you think, oh, maybe it's not going to happen, Ferrari sneaks in with a 1-2. Great result, tremendous result. When Ferrari is doing well, it is good for Formula One. So I know that Lando's got a real tough case in terms of the Drivers' Championship, but the Constructors' Championship, talked about it being a battle going into the race at COTA. Well, now it's become a 3-way battle. McLaren, Red Bull, Ferrari all have a shot at the Constructors' Championship this year, going down to the final few events. That's good. I know the Drivers' Championship is the sexy one, but it's the Constructors' Championship that pays the money. Of course, we have to mention track issues because it was a thing. The track limits, and that's the frustrating part. And I get that. Nobody wants to be hearing about that or talking too much about that, but I'm not sure exactly what you do to fix it. I think it's got to probably be a combination of things. I don't think you want to say, have at it, boys, the way some other racing series did a few years ago. I don't think that's the way to do it. If you use all the asphalt that's there, much of it for runoff and safety, then you're not really staying within the racetrack as it is defined. Do we need to examine circuits and construct them a little bit differently? Is there a way to have something prohibitive because the rumble strips, bollards, whatever you want to call them, those can be dangerous and pitching cars off in an uncontrollable fashion. Same thing with gravel. Do you have a little gravel strip around the outside, just enough to deter drivers from exceeding the track limits? Safety's got to be a big consideration in the solution. I don't think you want officials making every call, but you're never going to agree with every official's call either. If you lean more towards McLaren, you'll say, oh, Lando should have had that spot. If you lean more towards Red Bull, you'll say, oh, Max was clearly run off the track, and he got the position because he exceeded the track limits. Maybe a little reexamination at some things I think is necessary. Maybe a little reconstruction in terms of how the tracks are built on certain corners to deter exceeding track limits, but doing it in a safe and mindful way is the right way to look at it. One other thing that we should mention as well, the organizers of the U.S. Grand Prix at Circuit of the Americas were fined about $500,000 after the race because fans infiltrated the circuit before all cars had returned to stopped position on pit lane. How does this happen? This can't happen. Apparently, there was a little fence that was used to designate an area, and everybody just kind of stepped over it. Can't have that. It is a safety thing, and that's really something that should be punished and looked at. So, mentioned that Formula One is headed to Vegas in a few weeks. Well, NASCAR was there on the weekend, and it sure looked like Christopher Bell had the field covered. But as we've said on numerous occasions, the best car doesn't always win the race. Can I have the best car? Can I have the fastest car? Sometimes things don't work out for you and you don't come up with the victory. Led more laps than anybody else. Didn't get the win. Didn't lead the last lap. And that's the problem. This was the example of the best car didn't win. Couple of teams made the call to try to stretch the fuel. Other teams decided, nope, we're going the other way. It's going to be too difficult. We're going to pit, and we're going to try and run as fast as we absolutely can. Isn't it great when two strategies like that get to play out towards the end of the race? You've got a few teams trying it one way. You've got a couple of other teams trying it another way. And wow. Unfortunately for Christopher Bell, he's the one that pitted for fuel, came up just a little bit short, couldn't secure the victory, couldn't climb all the way back to the front. But hey, how about Joey Logano, who got the fuel mileage necessary to score the victory, and now he's going to have the opportunity to race for another championship. Another title for Joey Logano. And hey, wasn't it a week ago that Joey Logano was on the outside of the playoffs? Oh, wait, hold on just a minute. Somebody's getting DQ'd. That's going to kick him out of the playoffs and put Joey Logano in. Should he be getting the opportunity to run for another title? These are the rules as they're designed. I'll give you another little tidbit. Even after this race win at Las Vegas last week, Joey Logano's only got 6 top 5 finishes this year. That seems like a low number for someone who could potentially be champion. Isn't that why the whole playoff thing was instituted in the first place, going back to Matt Kenseth, who on consistency got himself a championship, but not wins? Okay. It's not exactly apples to oranges, but anyhow, just the way it is. And how cool was it at the end of this race to see these two strategies playing out? We're going to try and stretch our fuel mileage. We're going to go longer than we normally would. We think we can make it. We're going to pit early. We're going to get fuel. We're going to run as hard and as fast as we can to try to get back to the front and make that strategy work. You know, everybody was really excited about watching the end of this race. What would have happened if a yellow had come out and we got into an overtime situation? Would have completely blown the strategy out. Would have robbed us of this potential for a dramatic finish. Something to think about. F1 will get back in action this weekend. They're headed to Mexico. Pato O'Ward will be there. He'll be running in Free Practice 1. And hey, IndyCar, if you've got some time, since you're not racing right now, this would be a great opportunity to get some content and have one of your stars featured. He's in action this weekend. He's in front of Mexican fans. It's an opportunity. He'll be mobbed. Crowds will be great. Yes, it's in Formula One, but he's a reserve driver. NASCAR is at Homestead. Still have to remember that this is not the finale race anymore. It's been in Phoenix for a couple of years. We'll see what happens this weekend with NASCAR. Other thing I want to mention too is there's been some IndyCar testing, of course, at the Speedway. There was a little test at Iowa as well. Not really a lot said or done about it. USF Pro Championships had their big off-season test as well at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the road course for all their classes. Canadian Matt Clark was back in action. Mayor Deon Areen was there testing in the USF 2000 series. Clark had a tough year this year. He'll be back next year and should be pointed in the right direction and hopefully has himself a much better year. Keep an eye on Mayor Deon Areen as well. Tore it up in Radical Cup this year. He had a big weekend in Toronto and scored victories. He's looking to make the move into the USF series to start stepping his way up that ladder. Had a very good test session. So fingers crossed that those are in his plans for 2025. We'll be back again with another edition of Speed Chronicles next Wednesday. We'll talk more about what's going on in the world of motorsports. Oh, IMSA's starting to announce their driver lineups for next year as well. Hey, we're less than 100 days away from things kicking off for IMSA. How about this? We still got some of the 24 season going, and we're already looking ahead to 25 and some series kicking off. That helps shorten up the off season a little bit, don't you think? Enjoy a great week and a great weekend of racing. We'll be back with you next Wednesday.